Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean. This is In The Mixer, episode 186 of our FC Isle of Man series. If you haven't gone and checked out some of our videos for over the weekend, you definitely want to go and do that. Mainly because there's a chance for you to win not one, but potentially 2 copies of FM21 in part of our giveaway as we build up towards the release of that game. If you can guess our beta save, if you can guess our main save, you will win a copy. Now, there's a couple of different other caveats. There's a couple of clues in that video as well, so make sure you go and check that one out. It is the main video currently on the page when you hit it. And full disclosure, there have been a variety of different guesses that have already started coming in from different people around the world wanting to try and get their hands on a copy, so you are going to have to move relatively quickly. And in a couple of weeks, we'll have some more videos relating to FM21 and the content that's going to be coming out with the channel for the rest of the year and into the new year. But before we get to that stage, we've got unfinished business. We have things we want to win with the Isle of Man. We have ways that we want to finish off our season. We've got a huge Champions League knockout round tie that will be brought to you in today's episode, both the home and away legs. And we've also got quite a bit going on in the Premier Division itself as well. Let's jump straight in and see how we've gone. So, first and foremost, as you guys can see, just up above my head here, sitting in second position in the division, 26 games played, 20 wins, 4 draws and 2 defeats, plus 43 goal difference and 64 points to our name. Just a singular point behind Manchester City. They are 1 win ahead of us. They have lost more games with 3, but there's a couple of games that we drew that they potentially won as well. They're on plus 45 goal difference. It's pretty much at the moment a straight shootout between ourselves and them as to who's going to crack first and who's going to hold on to top position. We have been top a couple of different times. We were a little bit as well. We did beat them earlier on in the season and went top of the league. They have dragged us back in though. We've had a couple of different games, but mostly pretty good results. We're in a pretty good run of form. Unfortunately, they're just proving to be a little bit relentless, I should say. A little bit kind of like the Terminator hunting us down. We're trying to escape in a vehicle and he's the one running behind the car. You know the thing, I think, what I'm talking about. It'll be the thumbnail in today's episode anyway. If we have a look back on our most recent results, we of course played in the last episode our games against Roma and Manchester United. We also played Liverpool and Man City closing out last week. Some very good results, good performances in those games, and we've been on a fantastic run since as well. We beat Sheffield Wednesday 5-1 in the FA Cup with a largely rotated side. We had a very fortunate draw where we got Chester from the Vanarama National. We thumped them with a very rotated side. Willie Schaefer even missed a penalty in that game that could have made it 7. And in the Premier Division, we've beaten Southampton, Leeds, Everton and Burnley convincingly, as well as recent results against Brighton and Derby as I hiccup directly into the microphone. The one outlier, and unfortunately it had to be them, is a 3-1 defeat to Manchester City. We consistently struggle against them. They're the side far and away that we have the worst record against. And they did go 2-0 up. We tried to go super attacking in the last 20-30 minutes. They got a second goal during that period, Guillermo Pereira. They got another one in the extra time. Max Olsen pulling back a very late 93rd minute goal as a bit of a consolation and to thankfully not destroy our goal difference entirely. But it was quite frustrating and, we now have to rely on other teams to get good results. They sit 1 point ahead of us, so really they could draw a game somewhere and we could leapfrog them into top spot. But in reality, we would much rather that was in our hands and in our control. We do have some huge games coming up as well. We've, of course, got PSG. Both legs are going to be brought to you in today's episode. And in the gap between those 2 legs, we're going to be playing Liverpool away from home at Anfield, Manchester United at home, Watford away from home, and they are a little bit overpowered in Football Manager every single year. And we've got a huge FA Cup 5th round tie against Tottenham as well. So a variety of football still to be played. Potentially, by the time we get to the second leg against PSG, there's a little bit clearer shape in terms of how the league itself is structured and how it's going to play out over the last few games of the season. As many of which we're going to try and bring you this week. If we don't make it through this Champions League knockout round stage, we will give you more of the football focus for the remaining games in the Premier Division season as we try and capture as much silverware as humanly possible. Looking at the squad, we've got a couple of issues. We've had a few knocks come up over the last few weeks, a couple of unhappy players. We are now struggling to get players comfortable with being squad players. Frank Richard has wanted to leave for quite a while. He wants playing time. David Lind wants his initially agreed playing time. In the January window, there are a couple of bids that came in for Pablo Rivera. I promised him we'd sell him if someone bid £100 million, which is fine. If someone does, we will absolutely let him go. Nobody has, though, and that's the issue. He's starting to get upset, and his morale's down with us, and it's dragging down the rest of the team when in reality we're just waiting for somebody else to place a bid reflecting his value. Abdesamad has been perhaps the biggest pain in the ass thus far. He wants to be starting more games, and he's rewarded us by disappearing for a match day. He missed the game against Derby County. Not that he would have played in it anyway, because I've been leaving him out of the squads for quite a while. But the night before a match, he was seen leaving a bar in the early hours of the morning. He did that a month before as well, in January, and I forgot to mention it in the last episode. We've had similar issues with Esteban back in the day where he did this stuff, but he did it during the off-season. He never did it during the season itself. He never missed games because of it. And it's very frustrating that's happened to him twice this season. We will probably cash in on him and get him out of the squad, I think, moving forward. We will try and bring in an English defender to round out the squad and become one of our homegrown rule players. But stuff like that, just very, very frustrating. I would sell him now if we weren't outside of the transfer window as things currently stand. Otherwise, Knox to Medjugorje, he's been out for about 3 months so far. He's not got long to go before he's back. We've also got Bradley Taylor out with a sports hernia. Jose Santana's been playing quite a bit in midfield. And Uli Schaefer out for another 3 weeks as well with a knock that he's picked up. The squad has been doing well. We have been winning most of our games, but we are starting to feel the strain of competing on a variety of different fronts, getting into the late stages of quite a few different competitions. As we look at PSG, we'll go in the first leg at home. Favourites, $2.50 favourites against their $2.63, both in very similar runs of form. They're in very strong form, having lost 1 of their last 5. We're in the same boat with that defeat to Manchester City a few games ago. But otherwise, we're doing relatively well. There's not too much for us to worry about in terms of our overall depth and the squad we're putting out. I'm not panicking. I'm not worried. I think we can win the game from home, hopefully put ourselves in a commanding position heading into the return leg. Alright, this is the lineup that we're going to try and take into this first leg. Mancini, of course, in goal. Esteban and ex-PSG player Gazmi at central defence. Carlos Andre at left wing back. Lucas Gabriel at right wing back. Henry, another ex-PSG player, will anchor midfield. He is now drawn level with Bruno Castro as our leading assist maker for the season. I think he's also got our highest average rating in all competitions so far this year. Santana plays alongside him with the injury to Taylor. Harold will wear the captain's armband and play as the inverted wing on the left-hand side. Castro will play on the right. Martinez will play as the deep lying forward wearing the number 10 jersey, and Max Olsen, our English wonder kid, is our leading scorer and he will lead the line up top. PSG playing a 4-2-3-1 because every big club in Football Manager plays a 4-2-3-1. They have quality all over the pitch and quite a few familiar faces as well, guys we've come up against previously in the Premier League and a few other leagues as well. Salajan, the defender here, 5-star current and potential ability. He was previously at Liverpool back when we were really struggling to beat them in different competitions. 72 cap Romanian international for him, a fullback by trade, but they're using him as a ball-playing defender in this one. He plays alongside Mark, who's going to play at left back, previously part of that Leeds side that won the Premier Division against all expectations a few seasons ago. Got his big money move to PSG at the start of last year, and he's earning a decent little wage packet now, 3.5-star current and potential ability for the 30-year-old Spaniard. Stephen Lynch here we played against previously when he was at Ajax. I think he was one of the sides we came up against in our good Europa League run from a few years back where we won that competition. He's a very good Dutch central midfield option, can play on the right as well if needed. Idemar over on the left wing here, he was previously back at Moneybags Brighton when they had one of the most formidable front threes in the Premier Division itself. He's dropped off a little bit, only 2.5-star current ability now. 3.5-star current ability and potential now. 29-year-old Brazilian international though. He's got a fair amount of quality. He'll play on the opposite wing to Barabe, who's their best player and highest earner. I think he's one of the highest earners in world football with £525,000 a week. Probably more than our front four combined at the moment, if I'm being completely honest. He looks to be absolute quality, 5-star current and potential ability for the French right winger. And leading the line up top for them, Victor Gomez, previous Spanish wonder kid, 5 caps and 4 goals for the Spanish national side for the 22-year-old. Came through at Villarreal, 4.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He looks to be one to the future and one that we'll keep an eye on over the next few seasons as well. We can beat this PSG side. They're very good, make no mistake, but we're playing at home. We're in good form. We haven't lost that lot much recently. And even the Man City game, we had chances of our own. It's been a while since we were actually humbled by a side. So, well, that could be famous last words in the case of the curse of the commentator. I would expect us to do well in this first leg against PSG and hopefully give ourselves something to work with in the second leg as well. 20 minutes in, no highlights for either side as yet. We'll give it another couple of minutes, then we might use it firing a demand more or get creative shout. First highlight of the match, though, starts with Gazmi here at right back. Out to Lucas Gabriel, switch into midfield for Santana, who takes a good touch, getting closed down pretty quickly. Sends a weird ball out towards Harold. It's cleared by Morel. Lucas Gabriel should get there and keep it in for us. Back to Gazmi, all the way back to Mancini. Just hold the ball until they do the press. Goes over the block to Henry, and Tripodi wins it back quite well. Gomez sends it out wide right for Barabe. Just stand him up, boys. Cut back to Wagner Antonio, who gets in the box and just drives a shot just beyond the far post. Pretty poor play out from the back there, it must be said. Throwing now, left-hand side for PSG. We will make a shout in a moment once this highlight plays out. Lynn Shear in possession. Back to Grau. Lynn Shear again. Reverse pass to Tripodi. Now Berube, edge of the area. He smashes that one home. We spoke about how much money he's earning, which is absolutely ridiculous. And they gave us a warning sign a minute ago. And that time, it's pretty much just a straight ball down the middle, to be honest, which is very disappointing from a defensive perspective. Lynn Shear to Grau there. Tripodi just places it just in that little pocket of space between the left back Carlos Andre and Esteban, and he rifles that one home. It wasn't even near the corner, but just the pace of the strike itself, taking it beyond Mancini in goal. We've also used a demand more shout immediately to try and get something back in this game. It hasn't been a good performance from us so far. No highlights to speak of at all. But Harold's picked up the ball in good possession and skips beyond the defender and gets a strike away, but Morel, the French international goalkeeper, equal to it before it's scrambled away by the defence. Corner to be taken by Lucas Gabriel. Gasmi was there, back stick, but a good save again from Morel, forces it out for a second consecutive corner. Can we make it a decent delivery in? Salajan with the header away. Henri at the edge of the area, now to Santana, back to Carlos Andre, and the highlight comes to an end. We can use one more get creative shout before halftime. Can we try and drag something back in? Otherwise, I know exactly what our halftime team talk is going to be. 2 minutes to be added on, which we're 3 now. The referee calls half-time, and at half-time, 9 shots, 5 on target, 52% possession for FC Isle of Man, 4 shots, 1 on target, 48% for the PSG. We are going to aggressively say, show me something else in the second half, and then we're also going to make a switch. Once you use that hairdryer, you've kind of got to do something different tactically. We are going to go to our positive structure, play a little bit deeper. Let's try and invite PSG onto us a little bit and hopefully give ourselves some additional space in behind. And as we always do, we will give it 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to have a look at form, fitness, yellow cards, all that sort of stuff, and make some changes. And we are already rocketing towards the 60th minute mark. There are some poor match ratings out there. Harold's had a poor game and picked up a yellow card. We'll bring on Izusko Mateo for him. Carlos Andre not playing particularly well. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But we've also got Max Olsen struggling and Arnaud Henri. We need goals. So I'm going to take off Olsen. We're going to bring on Pablo Rivera, who has a great pedigree of scoring in the Champions League. Hopefully he can continue that today. Passionately, we're going to tell him that we've got faith in him. And we're also going to use Old Faithful, a get creative shout after an hour. It usually does the trick. And statistically speaking, we've had more of it. We've had more shots. We've had more on target. But we haven't had really any highlights to speak of in the match at all. Throw in though, left-hand side. Going to be taken by Carlos Andre. Exchanges pass with Martinez and gets in the box. Finds Mateo fresh off the bench. And he drives a strike straight at Morel, who does very well to deal with the pace of it and get it out for the corner. Gabriel with the corner in. Henri now, edge of the area. Back to Santana, tries to get the strike away. It wasn't miles away. Morel looked like he had it covered though. 10 minutes remain. We've really got to roll the dice here. We're going to go back to attacking. We're going to make one last change as well. Bruno Castro is going to come off. Frank Richard gets the chance to try and make himself a hero off the bench. If he can get an assist, if he can get a goal, it's going to help us out quite a bit. We're going to use a demand more shout as well with a few minutes remaining. A 1-0 defeat away from home doesn't kill us, but it does definitely make the away leg much more difficult. Grau in possession, switch out towards Berabe. Now Tripodi, wide right area, gets a strike in. It's cleared away. Roya Nico, who's come off the bench, previous wonder kid in the French national side. And they're showing us this highlight. It never crosses the line, Sports Interactive. Just take it out as a feature, or let me unselect when it shows us if it's crossed the line or not, because I get it 4 times an episode. 3 minutes to be added on. We're going to throw in here very late on the right-hand side. Richard with the ball. Lucas Gabriel looks back stick towards Mateo, whose flick-on header was poor. Tell you what, Martinez was in there, and you'd be back in the big Mexican front man to be going after those headers a little bit more aggressively. Highlight continues here. Grau to Salajan. Over the top to Roya Nico. We're into the last 10 seconds or so of injury time. Lynn Shear back to Grau at the base of midfield. Now Lynn Shear again, switch out to the right-hand side is poor, and the referee calls full time. It's a disappointing 1-0 defeat. 18 shots, 10 on target, 50% possession for the Isle of Man. 7 shots, 3 on target, 50% of the ball for PSG. Barabe's goal getting them the 1-goal advantage in the first leg. I'm going to aggressively say far from pleased with that result, and most players have responded positively, which is good to see. And no rest for the wicked. Like, we've got some big games coming up. In other matches, Arsenal beat Inter 2-0. Barcelona and Man City drew 1-1 in at the Nou Camp. Feyenoord beat Porto away from home. Lyon beat Bayern Munich in a huge upset. Samuele Benitez, is that our old Samuele? It is. It's our old number 10. Getting a goal for Olympique Lyon there. Roma lost to Olympique Marseille. Schalke beat Real Madrid in an upset. Atletico Madrid comfortably beating Sporting Lisbon away from home. Barabe gets the Man of the Match award for an 8.3 rating. And Lucas Gabriel's got a bit of a fitness concern, so we might actually give him a rest for the next game. And that does mean we're going to clear everything out. We're going to give everybody at least one rest day. The one person that we'll let off the hook there is Lucas Gabriel. because for him, I think we're going to give him a full 6 days off. We've got that big game against Liverpool where we want to try and leapfrog Manchester City. We've also got a huge game in a couple of weeks against Manchester United and then Watford, and then a huge FA Cup game as well against Tottenham. So there's a lot of football coming over the next few games. We're going to jump ahead to the second leg against PSG. We'll review those results from those matches, and we'll also go through our lineup before that match kicks off. All right, just like that, we are a couple of weeks ahead. Now, it's been up and down, and I'm going to vent a little bit to you guys here for a moment, because we were in fantastic form. We went away, we finished up our games over the weekend, saved the match before the game against PSG to get ready to set up recording. I spoke about this in our video over the weekend about recalculating form out of nowhere. We're in decent form. It wouldn't bother me if we had like one defeat here or there, but to reload a match and then lose 3 straight, albeit to very good sides. PSG are a good side, Liverpool are a decent side, they're in 11th in the division. Man United are a decent side. But just all of a sudden, for no reason, even though we're in good form, even though players are playing well, and it's not that I'm just trying to reload the same tactic each time. We went to our positive structure. We changed player roles. We rested players. We worked for different things in different matches at different times and still just get the same results. So after the 1-0 defeat to PSG, you guys just saw a 4-3 defeat to Liverpool away from home, a 1-0 defeat to Manchester United. Changed nothing other than brought maybe some of our first team players back in, and we've scored 7 in the last 2. 5-1 winners against Watford, a 2-0 victory against the Tottenham side that were at the time 3rd in the Premier Division in the FA Cup. I can't, like, the way that it just recalculates form for no reason, it frustrates the shit out of me. It makes me want to walk away from the game, is effectively what it makes me want to do. Come back, play again tomorrow once we're in a better headspace, once we're actually getting another opportunity for our form to reset itself again. We head into this one in fair form after those 3 defeats. Excellent form for PSG. They've won all of their games. It's going to be a very, very tough ask, I think, to turn around that 1-goal deficit from the first one. We're also going to be without Abdelkader Gazmi. He misses out on a yellow card suspension. They've got a couple of players out. Thankfully, Berube is doubtful. It would not surprise me if he came off the bench and scored a hat-trick. Warburton will come in one change. We've also welcomed Bradley Taylor and Connor Medjugorje back to the bench. They want Ulu Schaefer to start. I don't think we're going to do that, though. He's recommended to get through 45 minutes, so Martinez will continue up top. But a couple of players working their way back into fitness is going to be very helpful for us heading into a busy part of the season itself. And we may see cameo appearances in the match itself from a few of those players as well. We are going to go attacking. We are going to go after it. I know we are away from home and potentially there is the need for us to be a little bit more conservative away from home, but I've got to back the team and we do have to score. We have to beat them in regulation time. We're not going to go through if it's a draw at the end of 90 minutes. They have not changed their team too much. Salajan moves out to the right-hand side. Alcala comes in with Fagner Antonio in the central of defence here. Roy Nico will start ahead of Idemar, or actually Idemar moves to the right-hand side, and it looks like Berube hasn't even made the bench. So I guess that is a little bit of a bonus for us, but we've definitely got to put in an improved performance. Partially, we've got to say we owe PSG after what happened in our last match, and it will be so frustrating if our Champions League progress doesn't at least get through to like the quarterfinals or semi-finals. 1, the board expects us to make the semi-finals, but 2, I think like PSG are a good side. I know that they're a big club and whatever else, but we are a better overall squad and we are a better overall team than the way we performed in that first match. Switch out here. Idemar goes long towards Gomez. Warburton's right there with him. Warburton is going to have to get himself back up to speed in terms of Champions League appearances. He hasn't made that many over the last few years. Linshee gets the drive away, but thankfully well into the side netting. Mancini, ball out here to Lucas Gabriel on the right-hand side. Back to Warburton again, across to Esteban. Switch it out to the other side, please. Goes to Lucas Gabriel in a poor area, and Roy Nico wins it back. Good tackle from Gabriel, but only as far as Mark. Into Grau in midfield. Back to Linshee. Grau again. See, they worked it side to side until they found the 2v1. Grau, switch out towards Idemar again. That's what we need on more of our end. Tripodi with the strike, thankfully, just beyond the near post. Looked like Mancini had gone the wrong way in the build-up to that one. Salajan, free kick, right on halfway. Grau looks for the switch again out towards Roy Nico. He's pulling the strings at the moment, Grau, and a strike straight at Mancini from Roy Nico as well. If they have any more highlights here in the opening portion, we might look to try and mix things up, maybe go to our positive structure. And you know what? We haven't had a shot yet and we're 25 minutes in. We're going to switch to positive. We're going to use as well a demand more shout, hopefully to get some sort of focus through the team. But really, it's kind of the same way the previous game went. We haven't created too much and we haven't seen anything in the way of key highlights from the side thus far. Deep free kick here, Idemar to take, towards backstick, towards Gomez. He's headed straight at Mancini. Is the highlight going to continue? Can we transition quickly? We've got men on both wings and another forward getting forward. Harold with possession now, left-hand side. He's got men in the box. He just needs to make sure it's a good delivery. Goes the strike himself. And I know players and people complain all across the FM community about players shooting from wide areas. I don't know why he wouldn't slide that across the 6-yard box with 2 defenders in there in the middle. Santana to Esteban, back to Henri. Now Mancini, good switch out to left-hand side. Can we work? We can't. Harold gives it straight back to them. Just as I was about to say, can we work this 2v1 to our advantage? Switch out here to Idemar, right-hand side. Carlos Andre goes out to him. Cut back to Salajan on the overlapping run. He gets a strike away and he's put it into the top corner. It's hit Mancini on the way through. We're going to go out of the Champions League at the first knockout round, which is very frustrating. I'm not going to lie. Idemar in possession on the right here. He does quite well. Cuts it back to Salajan. That first touch just around the defender like he's not even there. And then on his not favoured foot, slams it into the top left-hand corner. Mancini did get a chunk of it, but could only push it further into the top corner. And at least we know what's going to happen here in the second half. Harold's in possession now from the counter-attack. They just had another chance to score. Can we try and pull one back on the stroke of half-time? Strike again straight at the goalkeeper from a wide area. And we're through the 2 minutes of additional time. At half-time, 11 shots, 4 on target, 53% possession for PSG. 5 shots, 3 on target, 47% of the ball for the Isle of Man. Aggressively, we're going to say, show me something else in the second half, and then we can at least go back to our attacking style. Bit more intense, bit more aggressive. We really have to roll the dice here, and the only way that we're going to get something out of this fixture is by going for broke in the second half. Ball here with Alcala, back to Morel. Switch out towards Mark. Playing a very expansive brand of football here, PSG. They are just wide in possession and super aggressive. Warburton with the header. Lucas Gabriel heads it back to Mancini. The highlight continues. Esteban had a switch out there, but he goes back to Mancini again. Now Warburton, 2 men committed to the press. Can we work an advantage in a wide area? Lucas Gabriel looks to send Olsen into the channel. Needs bodies to get in the box. Fagner Antonio right there with him. Roy Nico, back to him again. Linshear. End-to-end stuff here in this highlight. Grau with the ball over the top for Gomez, who's peeled off the shoulder of Warburton and found the finish. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. Oh my god. Maybe just the loss of Gazmi and the extra pace that he has in comparison with Warburton is what has hurt us here. But Grau, ball over the top. Gomez, good movement off the shoulder to be fair, but Warburton nowhere near him. And it's an excellent finish as well into the bottom left-hand corner. We're better than the way that we're playing in this episode, which is quite frustrating and not a good way to start the week. And it's frustrating given that we played Football Manager over the weekend. We're doing really well, had focused on our analysis, our targets, our tactics, and then for whatever reason, all of that form goes out the window. Things that we have been doing well, we're not doing well anymore. I guess that's the challenge of the video game itself, and I shouldn't complain about it reinventing the challenge, but it's so frustrating from a content creation perspective. Ball out here for Carlos Andre to Grau. Base of midfield, back into Salajan. Wide left area, now to Idemar. Good reverse pass, finds him again, cut back to Grau. We're going to make some subs after this highlight, I can feel it already. Olsen in possession, out wide now, left to Harold, who's been good, probably our best player on the park. He does lose out, just as I've said, he's been good, to Alcala. And Gomez now, for whatever reason, Esteban drops off and stops tracking him. He cuts it back to Tripodi. What is going on here, boys? That defensive effort was absolutely horrific. We're going to check it out here from Esteban, who's tracking the ball right here. There he is, tracking the ball. He just runs off, just gives up on the ball, goes and decides he's going to mark the penalty spot where no one is anyway. Then he tries to come back and leaves a wide open space for Tripodi to just walk in, far post, slide a ball home into the back of the empty net. 3-0 on the day, 4-0 on aggregate. We are absolutely trash. Henri to Esteban, back to Warburton. Esteban to Henri again, all the way back to Mancini. They're going to win the ball back here with space in front of them. Warburton to Lucas Gabriel, wide right area. We have to score 4 if we want to go through it, and even then, we have to score 5 actually. No, 4 should be enough because it's 4 away from home. I was about to say we'd be down on aggregate. Castro, wide left ball to Carlos Andre, ball back into Martinez, and it clips the inside of the bar. Rolls along the line. Yeah, I know, Football Manager. You show me the same fucking thing every game. It is ridiculous that you cannot turn that off. Harold to Santana. Henri. Switch out to Roy Nico. Now Tripodi comes forward looking to add to his earlier goal. He's got runners in and around him. Warburton will not go to the ball. Played to Gomez inside. Good save from Mancini. Saves face a little bit. We're through the hour mark. I'm going to let this corner play out and then we're going to make some very aggressive substitutions. Linshear to Salajan just over the crossbar. And we're going to make some changes here. So Harold, they're saying he's played poorly. I think he's been decent, but let's go with the match ratings. Martinez played poorly as well. We're going to bring on Schaefer, Gabriel. We're going to bring on Furka and Yilmaz. Let's just go with match ratings. Passionately will say, I've got faith in you. And then we are also going to use a Get Creative shout. With about 30 minutes remaining, I have seen some chaotic results around Reddit and stuff like that about people scoring 5 goals in the last 4 minutes. But I don't know if it's going to happen based on the patterns of play we're seeing in this game. Olsen in possession, but he loses out to Alcala. Linshear to Antonio. Olsen does very well to recover in a good spot. Can he find the finish though? It's a good save from Morel, who's been unbeatable throughout the course of this tie. Corner to be taken by Castro. Wraps his right foot around it. Mateo's there with him. Good reverse pass to Castro. Esteban knocks it back to Santana. Tries a strike from distance. Henri puts it back in for Olsen, who goes with a wild strike on his left foot. Nowhere near the goal. Through 70 minutes now. Can we maybe use another shout in a moment? We've got a highlight here very deep in our own half. Warburton forward to Olsen. Knocked down well for Castro. Switch it out to the other side, please, if we can. Instead, he's dribbling, and he loses out to Grau. And now Gomez gets to come forward, and he's 2v2 with our 2 central defenders. Idemar, back reverse pass to Gomez, who's had a very good game. Carlos Andre sends it back to, but only as far as Grau. Salajan's gotten forward now as well. Ball to Idemar. It's 4-0. It's 4-0 in the match. I hate this game. Roll on FM21. How many days until the release day? It's the 19th today, so less than a month to go, and I cannot wait. Especially on days like this. I guarantee you by the end of the week we'll win the league or something, and I'll say I love this game, but like for right now, this is as close to rock bottom as I think we've happened at any point throughout the course of this series, and it's as dominant a performance as we've experienced in Europe from any side. Inter have turned around a 5-0 victory in the second league against Arsenal. I guess that makes it feel a little bit better that we haven't thrown away a lead. We've just gotten worse. Mark to Tripodi. Back to Linshear. Now to Antonio. Switch out to the right-hand side. That's what we want to be doing more often. Working out way from one side to the other when we've got those 2v1s. They are so wide in possession, this PSG side. Managed by Frank Lampard as well. Like, it's just ridiculous. This is not how Chelsea play. Linshear. Salajan on the overlap. 2 men go to him. He cuts it back to Linshear. Base of midfield. They're just toying with us now at the moment. And Tripodi goes with the curling strike at the edge of the area. Just over the crossbar. Corner to be taken. Castro, this would be to save face. There were players in there, but Linshear comes out with the ball at the edge of the area. Alcala to Mark. To Hart. Knock on. I think he'd say that. Gavrilovic, who we've played against previously in other seasons. Finds Gomez, who's moved to the right-hand side. Gavrilovic last man, and he's pulled it back. It's 5-0 in the game. 6-0 on aggregate. It's absolute garbage. And did this clip the defender on the way in? Did this hit Lucas Gabriel? Because if it did, it should be. No, it has hit. What player was that? Is it Frank Richard? Furkan Yilmaz. That should be an own goal by all stretch, by all imagination. They've given it to Gavrilovic. And they've got another highlight here with a few seconds remaining in injury time. Linshear in possession. I'm nearly out of frame. That's how much I cannot be bothered continuing this episode any further. Santana. Wide right area. Can he cut it back? Schaefer's there. Mateo, we've pulled one back. Here it is, the fight back. It comes now, boys. 5 goals. That's all we need. And ridiculous. We're not gonna get anything. I might get sacked. The board's expecting us to make the semi-finals of the Champions League. I'm a victim of my own success. Mateo with the ball back across. Absolutely horrific. Mateo. Referee mercifully calls full-time. 5-1 defeat on the day. 6-1 defeat on aggregate. 21 shots, 9 on target, 52% possession for PSG. 16 shots, 10 on target, 48% of the ball for the Isle of Man. Aggressively, let's go with that. Far from pleased with what I've just seen from this team. And I am. I'm very unhappy with what I've seen. Santana apparently had a good match. Or no, Henri apparently had a good match. Castro apparently played well. Mateo got a goal off the bench. So then how did we concede 5 goals? That makes no sense to me. No sense at all. How's the board going to be feeling about this? Competition's reached the semi-final and we're knocked out. So they're a bit frustrated, 36%. Club info, am I in trouble? B-, that's not the worst. Not the worst thing in the world. We can work with that. But there are some defeats here. 6-1 defeat against the PSG. 3-1 defeat against Man City. 1-0 defeat against Man United. There are some results, kind of appearing that are not great. But I am on track with most of the other stuff that they're asking me to do, which is good to see. Victor Gomez, 3 assists, gets the Man of the Match award. Maybe we throw him on our wish list or on our scouting list to try and bring him in if we get a shitload of money this off-season. And we bow out of the Champions League. So the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, we haven't gotten ourselves. We did win the Community Shield. We're still in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We're going to play Southampton, potentially in the next episode. And then we've also got some big games in the Premier Division that are going to come over the next few days and weeks as we try and reel in Manchester City and defend our title. Looking at the schedule, you know what, maybe we just come back straight away for the next 2 games where we play Tottenham in the Premier Division. They're in 3rd spot. It's a big contest, 2nd v 3rd, as we try and keep pace with Manchester City. And then we've also got Southampton in our FA Cup quarterfinal. Maybe we try and bring you guys one of each for the remainder of the week. Quarterfinals, semi-finals, last day of this Premier League season, and then maybe to finish off the week, the FA Cup final. If we make it, we cannot look anything in the eye the way that we've just played. We're not in the best run of form. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know these games can be a bit of a tough slog. They can definitely be a tough slog to try and present. So I can only imagine, unless you love my pain and that's the sort of content you enjoy, then that's really weird and sadistic on your part, but that's fine. Like, whatever gets you watching the channel, I don't really mind. But we're going to pick ourselves back up. I'm going to turn the game off. All right, we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to play Tottenham. We're going to play Southampton. We're going to get good results. We're going to get that air of positivity back around the FC Isle of Man Stadium, and we're going to continue challenging for silverware throughout the course of this series and this save. If you want to help, commiserate the result in this episode, you can drop a like in this video. You can also subscribe to be kept up to date on the channel as we continue to release videos Monday to Friday right up until the release of FM21. But more than anything, guys, I just appreciate you watching. That's the part that means most to me. I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.